How's everyone doing today for our lovely Stoner Nation? Give me a second, I'm still setting up. Just give me a minute, everyone. Gotta get one of the streams ready. Settings. There we go. That one's ready. Now we just gotta get the voice recorder up. Give me a minute. Okay, guys. Now we're up and running. Oh, I'm gonna grab that chair. I got two chairs. I only need one. Sorry about it's a little chaotic today, guys. Sorry about that. Like I said, it's been a little hectic of a day. I got my munchies. Got my Cottonmouth solution. I got everything nice up and running. I got nicotine. I got everything. I'm good. So, alrighty. And we begin. So, welcome to Stoner Nation, guys. Cannabis lifestyle, marijuana tips, you know the drill. Welcome. What's up in pronoun human? There's been some activity in the marijuana world right now. There has been. It's been kind of interesting to see what's going on. I've kind of enjoyed the updates and the news. As soon as I get rid of all these pop-ups, we'll start on the news on it. Hi to everyone on TikTok. Hi everyone to YouTube, Rumble, Twitch. How y'all doing? Alrighty. Alrighty. So this one seems kind of interesting, so I'm going to read it. This one is titled, stupid. Sorry about that. I got an issue here. Indiana governor blames GOP leaders for marijuana legalization in action while half of Hoosiers probably smoking illegally. So, apparently the governor of Indiana is Democrat and wants to legalize marijuana. No? Let me correct that. I was wrong. He's a Republican. My assumptions. Clearly, I'm very prejudiced towards Democrats. Clearly, I'm very prejudiced towards Democrats. And I'm not ashamed of that. If anyone's going to ask, I'm not ashamed of that fact. I don't like Democrats. But the Republican governor of Indiana says the crescendo will rise to call to legalize marijuana. with regional dynamics and even law enforcement buy in favor and reform down the line. But not for now, he says. The GOP legislative leadership is not interested in doing anything soon, even if over half of Hoosiers probably smoke it illegally. Governor Mike Braun gave his perspective on the cannabis policy issues during an interview with WO's Fort Wayne's Morning News, saying he feels lawmakers should take an additional look at it, and that while he's personally agnostic on legalization, the reality is that Indiana is surrounded by 4 states that allow either medical or adult cannabis use. Over half of Hoosiers probably smoking illegally, he said, noting that neighboring Kentucky permits patients to access medical cannabis, while Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio have recreational marijuana laws on the books. What's up, Reckon family? What's up, Ken? I'm going to listen to law enforcement. Even they have changed their opinion in terms of legalizing it and regulating it, Braun said, adding that he compared cannabis to gambling. The state was late in the game to adopt laws allowing adults to gamble. He said, but now it ranks in the top 3 states nationwide in terms of revenue per capita from that vice. Some people aren't going to want it. It's just out of principle. A lot of our state police and sheriffs are tolerating people going across borders by cannabis. Thank you for the roses, Austin. It would be an increasing issue that so far our state legislator has kind of dug in against it. Thanks for the overreact. I've been more agnostic about it, the governor said. I can see points of view, and I can even see law enforcement move on it somewhat. So that would give you the best description of where the dynamic is in our state, the governor told WOWO. I don't think the leader of the Senate, especially and the Speaker of the House, are pretty. They take control, and they control the legislative agenda. Well, considering the fact America is going to be pulling out here soon because no order of declaration of war has been issued, and under Article 2 of the United States Constitution, as well as the Limited Military Response Act of 1798, as revised in 1952, and then revised again in 1962, it states that, hold on a second, I'm having Wi-Fi issues. There we go. It states that he has 60 days to request a declaration of war, and at which point in time the United States government legislative branch under Article 1 has 30 days to respond. Like with the Korean War and the Vietnam War, we did not officially have declarations of war against those nations until towards the end. So as a result of which, we were actually in a military policing action under the guise of an extended military limited action with the approval of the Senate. Trump has already said he's pulling out with here soon. So if other countries get involved, it's just going to be to clean up what we left behind. For those of you who don't know what I mean by that, go look up Operation Praying Mantis and find out what we did to Iran back in the 80s. Last time they closed off the Strait of Hormuz. Well, thank you, Sam. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen, is that they're just going to clean up our mess. That's all. And honestly, for Iran to turn around and say, from what I've read, he was just a realtor involved in the selling of the island. From what I've read. Now, from what I've read on other people's interpretations of it, My name's Randolph. See, what people don't know is I'm just going to give y'all a little bit of information. I am related to one of the founding families. I'm related to the Carroll family out of Maryland. My father is Robert Lee Carroll Jr. His father is Robert Lee Carroll Sr., obviously. And on the Constitution, on the Declaration of Independence, we are called, the signature for our family is Charles Carroll of Carrollton, representative of Maryland. So, for those who don't know, my family is very entwined in this type of stuff. We actually were raised on what the Constitution and Declaration were meant to be and how they're meant to be interpreted. And that's why you're seeing a lot of founding families start reappearing and getting into politics now. Because the country's done screwed it up on all the way around on both sides. I mean, I want y'all to just humor me for this. According to one of the amendments of the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights, there's words that literally state that literally, y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know which amendment it is. The citizens' rights to bear arms and form a well-armed militia shall not be infringed upon by any government, nation, creed, or religious ideology. Now, let's break that down. Shall means will, but when you add not, will not allow. Infringe means to restrict. So shall not infringe means can't do nothing about it. With that being stated, yes, they did put in specific. They did actually eventually in 1798 do something with some gun laws. They were called the Violent Felon. They were classified as Violent Felon and Sexual Offenders Acts. Basically, what it was, if you were a violent offender or somebody that's deemed to be less than human, you were not allowed to have a gun because you viewed it as a threat. If you were ever charged as a traitor, you're viewed as a threat. That also comes along with the Enemy Alien Act of 1798, the Immigration Act of 1798, and if anyone actually reads those two laws, the Enemy Alien Act of 1798 and the Immigration Act of 1798, it literally states that any nation that America is currently at war with, the citizens are to restrict this right to enter the state of citizens from hostile enemy nations that we have a declaration of war with or have labeled as a threat to America shall not be granted entry into this country. Now, that being stated, you go into the Immigration Act of 1798, and it literally defines illegal immigration to the letter. And you go into the Illegal Immigrant Act of 1962, and it defines it again. You go into all these immigration acts that go into play, and it all defines immigration as it is. So, literally, the only way we can fix the damn country is for everyone to stop arguing what the law says and just do as it says. So, yeah, that's why a lot of founding families are coming back out and saying something. But besides that, I'm going to be covering all that type of stuff on a series I'm going to be recording, including why marijuana became criminalized in 1937 and the racial reasons behind it, from Harry Anslinger, the FBI's drug task force dude who later became the first leader of the DEA. Listen, there's a lot of history behind that, and a lot of people are going to go, what the fuck? All right. So, when that comes around, I'm going to be covering all this stuff. Pay attention, it's going to be on YouTube and stuff like that. So, go check out Stoner Nation, Cannabis Lifestyle, Marijuana Tips on YouTube, and you'll find it when I start releasing it. But besides that, we're going to get back onto the marijuana stuff. So, basically, from what I'm getting is Indiana wants to have legal marijuana. Those in Senate are intentionally not doing it, despite the citizens want it, but the governor wants it. So, I say that the United States citizens turn around and enact Article 8 of the United States Declaration of Independence, which was actually ironically within the first paragraph and the first lines of it. It states that the government no longer serves the interests of the people. It's the citizens' patriotic duty and responsibility to abolish and reform said branch of government to suit the people's needs. Now, there is actually a constitutional law and a federal law that states how you do that. What you do is you get a petition signed. You form a petition, get it signed with 2/3 of the population for the targeted group. So let's say you're targeting Indiana. You need 2/3 of the population of Indiana to turn around and vote. You sign this petition, then you submit it. Upon doing so, if it's not acknowledged, you then submit it to the federal court. Upon which the federal court will launch an investigation. If they determine that the government of Indiana is serving its self-interest, then it goes into emergency removal of seating, which comes with emergency votes to replace said branch, to replace said seats. It hasn't been done very often, but it has been done in the past on a couple of occasions with a couple of senators and representatives. So, yeah, there's a way to fix the government. And I'm going to tell you right now, is to stop voting these career politicians in, people. 50 years and nothing to account for, 98% absentee rate, and y'all still going behind them? Vote me for president. Vote Randolph Small for president. If y'all want to see this government get fixed, vote Randolph Small for president. I'll be 36 around the time it's time to run for office, around time it's time to become president. I'll be old enough. And I promise you this, marijuana will be legal on a federal level. You'll see this government, you'll see this country and this government change for the better. I mean, who better to run a country than an descendant of a founding father? But, you know, I know the story behind the Star Spangled Banner, the bloody, gruesome story behind the Star Spangled Banner at Fort McHenry. I've been to Fort McHenry. I've been to where the Declaration of Independence was signed, where the Constitution of the United States of America was signed. I've seen those documents in person. All right, you know, I've seen the Liberty Bell. I even seen her sister Bell. Yes, she had a twin sister that cracked just the same way. Yes. They made multiple versions of the bell in order to ensure that one version would make it to its destination, no matter what the British did. So, yeah. A lot of people don't know that little bit of history. But anyway, now I will say Trump. I did vote for Trump. I do believe that he is doing right with immigration. I will not deny that. But what I will say is Trump's an idiot as well. I will admit to that one. Some of the stuff he's been doing, like with the buying of the gas, with using the fuel for Venezuela, we got to refine it beyond belief. He could have been better off selling it somewhere, and then buying it back already refined. Okay, dude. But then again, he's the only legal president since Reagan. Reagan was an actor. And wasn't Reagan also a governor at one point? I might have to look into that. Give me a second. Yes, he was a governor, which means he was not legally allowed to become president under a law that was repealed in 1962 that was actually created by the founding fathers. That literally stated if you ever made an oath in office at any point in time in life, to uphold and defend the United States Constitution, you are not fit to be president. Yes, that is a law. Well, was a law. And I'm having pizza courtesy of Domino's. Now, with all this being stated, we're going to get off the topic of that. No more presidential talk. We're going to get back to marijuana talk. What we're here for. Right? Right. Man, this website shows such nice buds, guys. Oh my god. Such nice plants, such nice flowers. I just read a stupid article title. Hi, 1KK Chris. What's up, man? I just read a stupidest article title. Republicans are twice as likely as Democrats to see marijuana as morally wrong, poll shows. I know more Republicans that smoke weed than Democrats. Just being honest, guys. I do know more Republicans that smoke weed. I mean, you're looking at one, and the dude I get it from is a fucking Republican too. And his dude's a Republican too. Just saying. Yeah, no, I haven't gotten that upgraded yet, Chris. I was hoping to get it updated by now, but that didn't work out. Some shit came up in my personal life, and I'll be honest, I haven't even finished the last part of the design yet. I haven't even finished the last part of the design yet. The last part is going to be the actual signature for the show's name that goes on the label and will sometimes be on the full front or something like that, or somewhere on the outfit. I want that to look badass. Okay. Here's something intriguing. High marijuana taxes don't effectively deter use. Study shows, contrary to NYT editorial board's claims. New York Times editorial board. There's no meaningful evidence that imposing higher taxes on marijuana would steer people away from using it. Contrary to a claim recently made by the New York Times editorial board, according to a new scientific analysis of cannabis consumption and tax data. In fact, raising the cost of cannabis sold at state-licensed retailers could lead people to return to the illicit market to obtain cheaper and untested marijuana that carries its own public health and safety risks. The new report, authored by Ohio State University Morehead College of Law researchers Dexter Ridgway and Yana Hernova, drew on nationally representative survey data from federal sources and marijuana tax rates in states that have enacted legalization to test the idea that putting a higher premium on cannabis for adults could positively influence consumer behavior and deter heavy marijuana use. They don't know us stoners very well, do they? They don't know us potheads. In its editorial, the board emphasized that while the federal government imposes taxes on alcohol and tobacco sales, it doesn't do the same for marijuana, which is no surprise given that the plant remains federally illegal, as do the state licensed shops that sell it. The board said, increase in tobacco taxes have a major reason that its use has declined in the 21st century profound health benefits. The first step into a strategy to reduce marijuana abuse should be a federal tax on pot. For anyone who's seen my previous videos or my previous streams, know full well I'm all for a sin tax on pot. I am. I'm all for it. A 20% sin tax that goes straight to the feds. That's over $1.3 billion a year just in American citizens over the age of 21 that will be legal to smoke marijuana. Alright? That, if every state adopts it, can be anywhere from 1.2 million to 300 million, depending on the size population. So, with that being stated, I am all for sin tax on marijuana. I am. And that's what it's going to take to get it legal. Run it. Just saying. I mean, we gotta be willing to make a sacrifice to get it legalized. You know, and paying a little extra out of our pockets does the trick, in my opinion. All right. The first step in the strategy is to I'm all for putting one on there. 20% sin tax. That's all we need. States should also raise taxes on pot. Today, states' taxes can be as low as a few cents on a joint. The editorial argued taxes should be high enough to deter excessive use on the scale of dollars per joint, not cents. Okay, listen. I don't know when the last time these fuckers were ever, and by the way, we all know the New York Times are a Democratic news agency, right? So the whole poll of, Republicans will see marijuana as morally wrong more than Democrats. That's clearly just been proven wrong. Because this was an editorial by, who again? New York Times. And their editorial says that by raising taxes, it would lower it. When's the last time they went into a dispensary? When? The dispensaries I go to, $20 a joint. $25 for one of these. $25 for a pre-roll. I'm sorry, that's definitely way more than a fucking few cents on a fucking joint, guys. The idea that marijuana taxes are casually associated with lower usage rates isn't exactly settled science, the OSU report said. As states with varying tax rates for cannabis have a disparate trends in consumer behavior. More generally, at a time when the legal cannabis marketplace is a patchwork of ever-changing state laws and industries, the overall relationship between tax rates and marijuana use rates, and especially heavy use rates, is quite unclear to researchers. Well, they pointed out, for example, that marijuana is taxed at the highest rate in Washington State at 43.5%. And the state has the sixth highest usage rate, 22% in that data set. Damn fly. By contrast, New Jersey has the lowest tax rate of 6.6% and reports the lowest usage rate of 14.4%, taken in the bottom half nationally. So, according to actual information and studies and shit like that, the higher tax rate doesn't mean shit. Now, these patterns do not apply to taxes that have no effect on consumption, but they do suggest that assuming marijuana users will respond to taxation like tobacco users is overly simplistic. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ultimately, the OSU report, which assessed 2023-2024 survey data from the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, concluded that there is no apparent correlation between marijuana tax rate and marijuana usage rate. Merely looking at tax rates and usage rates ignores the myriad of other factors that can influence the rate of use, such as the maturity of the legal market, the ease of access to product affected by number of dispensaries per population, the price of the product in a given state since marijuana cannot be traded across state lines, the way states regulate the number of licensed growers significantly affects availability, price of product, and many other factors, the researchers said. The New York Times editorial soundly stressed the importance from the public health perspective of limited excessive or high potency marijuana use. Additional data is needed to assess the role of tax increases to deter the riskiest marijuana uses and users. The policy progresses here will likely require a broader regulatory approach besides taxation. These 2023 data suggest no simple inverse relationship between state tax rates and marijuana use. And effective policy must account for market structure, product availability, and the wide availability of illicit products. So basically, no matter what, people are going to get their weed. So people can just get over themselves. Anyway, I am quite tired today. I'm very hungry, and I'm going to get off of here and go ahead and finish my dinner, guys. Y'all have a lovely day, and don't forget to smoke responsibly and everything like that.